Hello, and thanks for joining us for our talk on this paper, Plastic Buttons, Complex People, an ethnomethodology-informed ethnography of a video game museum. My name's Harriet, and I'll be launching us into this talk today. Later on, you'll hear from Velvet and Gisela as well. The study centres on work conducted at the National Video Game Museum. The National Video Game Arcade, as it was known at the time of the research project, was a museum and video game arcade located in Nottingham City Centre, UK, that offered visitors the chance to engage, play with, create and learn about video games, spanning from the very earliest games to the most modern ones. Shortly after the research project, the National Video Game Arcade rebranded to the National Video Game Museum and relocated to the heart of Sheffield, where it continues its work as a cultural centre.
Hello, hi, I'm Velvet. I will be giving you an overview of the study setup as a whole. As a researcher as participant, I accompanied 11 groups of visitors in the NBA Nottingham during August 2018 for 4 weeks. All groups consisted of 2+ people to see how visitors would firstly organize playing together in the space, and secondly, how they make sense of the museum. One of the main foci of the study was to capture the interactional work of groups in the NBA. This means recognizing and paying attention to what concepts, ideas and tools people use to make the museum visit happen. Since this is quite an abstract concept, I will now introduce an example. Here we see people queuing, but how is queuing being achieved between people? It seems like it is not something that needs explaining, and it is one of the many taken-for-granted aspects in everyday life. However, queuing only works because people pay close attention to each other. You leave space to the person in front of you and only move up if they move up. You know not to cut the line and where to join it. Making this happen requires interactional work. Because interactional work manifests in many different ways, our data collection was also very diverse. It included field notes, diagrams, photos and videos of the group visits. In terms of data analysis, we focused on making the interactional work visible to the reader by capturing it and explicating it carefully through detailed descriptions of the visits, which are presented as fragments in this paper.
Hi, I'm Gisela. I'm going to give a bit of context to position this work in the relevant discourses. First, we build upon literature investigated interaction in museums. As museums evolve to become more and more interactive, a space opens up for museums who do not just include interactivity in their exhibits, but which center exclusively around it. As part of this change, video games are increasingly found in museum spaces to offer novel modes of engagement and learning for visitors, such as the museum in which this study took place. Then, we also built on previous research looking at people playing video games, more specifically together. We aim to understand the players' embodied activities coupled with the social interaction arising in a co-located setting. We are also interested in the role of spectators and audiences in the gaming experience. So the work we're presenting here could be seen as the fusion between these two lines of research. To understand the data collected, an activity map was generated, inspired by the work of Crabtree et al. The activity map represents the sequential activities of participants in their visit. This map shows just one interpretation of the ways people made sense of the museum. We know this may seem a little overwhelming at first, but it's not as complicated as it first seems. The activity map breaks down into 4 stages: prep, play, went down, and exit. Each stage contains several tasks and steps which can offer examples of behaviors observed. This is explained in more detail in the paper, but offers a useful method to understand overall the communal experience.
This slide showcases an example fragment. Instead of playing Rock Band as intended, group members Chloe and George end up sharing a controller that is meant for one person. Many of these moments of creativity and ingenuity were captured as part of the study. Based on our analysis of these fragments and the activity map, we developed 3 design implications for those wanting to design for co-located collective video gameplay. These design implications, like the activity map, are one way of reading and interpreting the interactional work by the accompanied visits. They are a starting point to build upon.
The first implication we offer in response to our findings is to design the space with interactional accountability and sequentiality in mind. By designing spaces to be open and inviting, consciously accounting for the ways that people use the space, we could encourage browsing and spectating between visitors and visitor groups as a collaborative, collective action. The second implication we offer would be to allow for documentation, nostalgia, and personal storytelling. The research demonstrated that groups gave meaning to the space and exhibits around them by connecting them to other external fragments of their own lives. Encouraging this encourages meaning making. The final implication is to allow visitors to subvert, extend, and reinterpret games. We found that leaving room for spontaneous, playful, and non-canonical interactions enhanced group cohesion, engagement, and reward, enabling cohabited spaces to exist in previously solitary spaces.
Thank you for watching this presentation. If this work resonates with you, please stay in touch. Thank you very much. Bye bye.